What is it about the mixed messages coming from the Prime Minister and his Treasurer about the economy? On one hand, we've had Jim Chalmers playing the doomsday card from both Canberra and Washington, lowering expectations, taking up an American recession, talking it up big time, and the impacts that will be felt in Australia. Now, all of that is great, but there seems to be a bit of political backside covering in that kind of approach from Jim Chalmers. But he is in the company of the world's top 20 treasurers, so maybe he should know. But then you've got Anthony Albanese turning up to a rock star reception at the New South Wales Labor Conference yesterday, splashing more money around for parents. He's catapulted the country to near top of the charts in having one of the world's most generous paid paternity leaves. This policy will cost us $600 million over 5 years. And yet he's already on track to shower parents with childcare subsidies at the cost of $5.4 billion. Like, making a generous paid parental leave policy one of the most generous on the planet seems to be a classic old-fashioned Labor vote grabber. In this case, a huge pitch to women in particular, which they really didn't need to do. I think the Chalmers doomsday position is more of what Australia might need right now. I have major concerns about the largesse involved in a 26-week paid parental scheme at top dollar rates. And taxpayers should not be happy about that. This country is heading at pace towards $1 trillion in debt. We will get there. $1 trillion. Well, there's only one direction to take right now. Cut the fat, detect and wipe out the inefficiencies, but keep the economy productive, keep it moving. And I'll get to keeping the economy moving in just a second. But the PM, he seems way off track, almost at his own little spending bubble, which of course is Labor's classic DNA. While his two deputy money crunchers, Finance Minister Katy Gallagher and Minister for Regional Development Catherine King, they seem to be on a mission to cut the budget to the quick. That's the same page as Jim Chalmers. Today, Senator Gallagher was on Sky News sporting an almost evil razor-like grin when she spoke about axing waste and rorts.
Well, I think we've made it clear we will be finding savings. That's definitely, you'll see stage one of the audit into waste and rorts. You'll see the results of that. So there has been that focus, but we also said it'll be delivering on our election commitments, helping with cost of living pressures where we can do that without adding to inflation. I think the budget will have a lot of good news stories.
That's what we need right now, an eager new Finance Minister wielding a mean razor, $1 trillion in debt. And Catherine King, too, is out to smash the Morrison government's regional grants program and seems quite ready to upset National Party MPs.
So they're still in the process of undertaking the merits review, but if they come to me and they say, on the basis of the merits review, this project can't proceed, then I will not proceed.
Look, clearly there will be blood on the parliamentary floor come budget night Tuesday week. But there will be, as Katy Gallagher mentioned today, good news stories, and they were leaked to 9 newspapers today in the form of major infrastructure funding. Now, this is what can keep the economy moving and unemployment low. There's $1 billion worth of infrastructure earmarked for New South Wales, including money for Western Sydney roads and money for the acquisition of land for a high-speed rail corridor to Newcastle from Sydney via the Central Coast. And Victoria, well, Dan Andrews is pally-wally with Anthony Albanese, as we know. He'll receive a whopping $2.57 billion for infrastructure, including money for Dan's controversial Loop Rail project. That's big bucks. Queensland will receive $1.47 billion. So the Labor states are getting plenty from Treasury. The government knows that being so early in their term, it can get away with upsetting sectors of the community by cutting plenty of fat. Jim Chalmers seems to be almost a conservative treasurer in a Labor government. He grew up in Logan City in Brisbane South, so he knows what families go through on the proverbial struggle street. If what we're hearing is right, that he'll cut out the waste but grow the economy at the same time, especially the big ticket numbers, he'll gain a lot of cred out of this first budget handed down in a week and a half. He just needs to pull his boss aside and tell him to get on the same bus and stop writing big cheques.